Dear students, so today our topic is pharmacology of digoxin. So digoxin is also known as a cardiotonic because it is helpful for the treatment of the congestive heart failure without increasing the expenditure of oxygen or expenditure of the fuel. So due to that reason, the digoxin is known as a cardiotonic. So those drugs, so they are enhance the performance of the heart without increasing the oxygen consumption, and such drugs are only known as a cardiotonic. If the drug increases the performance of heart as well as increases the consumptions of oxygen, and such drugs are known as the cardiac stimulant, but both function is same, that is a cardiotonic as well as cardiac stimulant. Both drug they are increases the force of contraction and performance of heart, but difference is regarding the utilizations of the oxygen. So that is a cardiotonic, they do not increase the utilizations of oxygen, but cardiac stimulant they increases the utilizations of oxygen. So that's why they are known as a cardiac stimulant, and digoxin is known as a cardiotonic. So regarding the digoxin, so digoxin is a cardiac glycoside. It is obtained or isolated from the plant regarding the foxglove, are also known as the digitalis purpura. So digitalis, it is mainly used in the treatment of dropsy or edema, that is swelling in the ventricles or swelling in the heart. So due to swelling or hypertrophy of the cardiac muscle, the heart can be enlarged, especially left ventricle, so that can contain the pure oxygenated blood. So due to swelling of the left ventricle, the pressure was not created on the blood. So due to that, the pumping capacity of the heart was failed due to hypertrophy or edema or enlargement of the ventricle. So on that time, the demand of the organ or the demand of the heart, they are fail or decreases. So due to that, the person was suffering from the congestive heart failure. So that condition was also treated with the help of the digoxin, because the digitalis or the digoxin, so they are enhance the accumulations of calcium in the cardiac muscles. If more calcium present mean more force of contraction was increases. So that action was beneficial for treatment of the edema or dropsy or congestive heart failure. So digoxin, the first time it was used by William Withering in the year 1785, and it is mostly used in the treatment of atrial fibrillation, atrial flutter, and as well as the heart failure. Heart failure means unable to pump, but atrial fibrillation and atrial flutter means the heart rate is more than 250 per minute. So normal heartbeat is around 60 to 80 per minute, but in the conditions of atrial fibrillation and atrial flutter, so on that time our the heartbeat or the heart rate is more than 250 or more than 200. So that condition was known as the atrial fibrillation or atrial flutter. So that was also treated with the help of the digoxin. So digoxin, so digoxins, so is mainly taken by mouth or by injection into the vein, and it is sold under, or it can sell under the popular brand name that is known as the Lanoxins. So regarding the mechanism of action of digoxins, so already you know regarding the muscular contraction, regarding smooth muscle, cardiac muscle, as well as the skeletal muscle. So when action potential is transmitted between SA node to AV node, it can cover the all the arterial muscles. Okay, so and when from AV node to it can enter in the Purkinje fiber by passing the AV bundle, so that can cover the all the ventricle. So all the ventricle, so they are having the cardiac muscle, and cardiac muscle they consist of the cardiac cell. So when action potential is reaches towards the cardiac cell, so where the membrane permeability can be changes. So due to that, or due to stimuli, or due to action potential around the cardiac cells, so sodium channels can be opened. So that sodium channel, due to opening of sodium channel, the sodium can be enter inside the cardiac cell. then the positive environment was developed inside the cardiac cell. So that condition was known as a depolarization. So due to depolarization, the calciums can be released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum, as well as the calcium can be enter from the calcium channel. So due to depolarizations only, so like that. Okay, so due to depolarization, the calcium channel can allow the entry of the calcium inside the intracellular fluid or inside the cardiac cells. Then same condition, certain calcium, so that can be released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum with the help of the renin channels or renin receptors. So they are responsible for to release of the calcium from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. And sarcoplasmic reticulum is a cellular organelle, so where the calcium can be stored, or it acts as a storehouse for calcium. So when calcium required for cardiac muscle contraction or any muscle contraction, so then only the calcium can be released after the depolarization. So this released calcium, it can phosphorylate the troponin C. So troponin C, it is the peptide. It is present between actin and myosin filament of the cardiac muscle. But in the skeletal muscle, troponin and tropomyosins are present. So here in the cardiac muscle, the troponin C, it is present between the actin and myosin filament. So whenever the troponin C is active, so on that time the myosin filament cannot be fall on the actin filament. So that condition was known as the relaxation. So they are away from each other due to activations of troponin C. So that's why the troponin C is acts as a bridge between the actin and myosin. So due to accumulations of calcium, so that troponin C is phosphorylated or it can inactivated. So due to phosphorylations of the troponin C, so that can causes the myosin filament can fall on the actin filament. So due to falling of myosin filament on actin filament or pulling the actin myosin head, so that can cause a decrease the size of the cardiac muscle. So due to decreased size of cardiac muscle, so that condition was known as the contractions of the cardiac muscle. So due to contractions of cardiac muscle, so here the heart rate and the force of contraction and as well as the cardiac output is increased. So to increase the force of contraction, the force can be created on the blood. So that is helpful for the movement of blood from one area to the another area or through a systemic circulation. So due to increase the force of contraction, the cardiac output is also increases. So per beat, so the ventricle, so their cardiac output is 70 ml. So 70 ml of blood was pumped from the respective ventricle and per minute is around 5 liters. So that was depending upon the force of contraction or that can depending upon the contractions of the cardiac muscle. If it is unable due to lack of calcium, so then body do not got the oxygenated blood or the heart itself it do not got the oxygenated blood. So due to that the heart was fail. So that condition was known as the congestive heart failure. And here the release calcium, so that can be losses or that percentage was decreased in the cardiac muscle due to following reasons. So first reason, so that released calcium, it can exchange with the hydrogen ion from intracellular fluid into the extracellular fluid with the help of the calcium ATPase pump. So this pump allow the entry of hydrogen ion that of exchange with the calcium from extracellular fluid into intracellular fluid. So that was enter in the hydrogen ion and calcium it can move away from the intracellular fluid towards the extracellular. This is the first mechanism. It can cause the loss of the calcium from the cardiac muscle. Then second, so that calcium can exchange with the sodium. So through a sodium calcium exchanger. So remaining some amount of calcium, once again it can out of the cell by exchange with the 3 molecule of sodium, that is with the help of the sodium calcium exchanger and other few molecule of calcium, so they are exchanged with the or they are re-enter in the sarcoplasmic reticulum after the exchange of the sodium, so that of with the potassium like that. So this can enter inside the sarcoplasmic reticulum through a Renaudin receptors or with the help of the SERCA2, that is the sarcoplasmic reticulum calcium channels. So through which the calcium can be re-enter into sarcoplasmic reticulum. So like that, the calcium ability or concentration, so that was decreases in the cardiac muscle. So lack of calcium, that much contraction do not occurs or the force cannot be created. So lack of force of contraction, the heart failure or the congestive heart failure can be occurs. So that was reversed or treated with the help of the digoxins. So like that. So after administrations of digoxin, so that digoxin, it can mainly inhibit the sodium potassium ATPase pump as well as the sodium calcium exchanger. So due to inhibitions of these two pumps, the calcium cannot enter into the extracellular fluid from the intracellular fluid. So like that, the calcium concentration in the cardiac muscle, so that was remain in the high concentration or sufficient concentration due to blocking the sodium potassium ATPase or the sodium calcium exchanger. So the mechanism of digoxin is, it was helpful for the treatment of congestive heart failure because it can inhibit the sodium potassium ATPase pump as well as sodium calcium exchanger pump. So due to that, the digoxin, it can decrease the loss of the calcium from the cardiac cell. So due to that reason, the calciums can be more accumulated in the cardiac cell. So that accumulated calcium is helpful for the once again phosphorylipase relations of the more troponin. So that troponin is helpful for to close the actin myosin filament. Then only the contractions of cardiac muscle is occurs more. Then powerful the force of contraction can increases as well as the cardiac output was increased. So like that, the administrations of digoxin, it can causes the accumulations of calcium in the cardiac muscles or cardiac cells. So that was helpful for to increases the force of contraction. So that increased force of contraction was helpful for the treatment of the heart failure or congestive heart failure. So this is the mechanism of the digoxin. So regarding the pharmacology, it is mainly acts on the heart. So where it can causes the accumulations of calcium. So due to accumulations of calcium, it can enhance the force of contraction and as well as it can stabilize the cardiac muscle membranes or cardiac cells or plasma membranes of the cardiac cells. So due to that, it can increases the refractory period. So refractory period is nothing but the time between or before next stimuli or next depolarization. So that time was known as the refractory period. If the refractory period is increases means the more time is available for the cardiac muscle to recover or the filling of the complete ventricles, and due to that only the demand of the oxygen can be decreases by enhancing the refractory period. So due to increase the refractory period, the next generations of contraction or action potential that was delay. So due to this mechanism, the digoxin was used for the treatment of the arterial fibrillations and as well as the arterial flutter. These are the types of the cardiac arrhythmia because so next potential or next waves are generated late due to increase the refractory period. In another side, the digoxin, it can decrease the AV conduction, that is the transmissions impulses from AV node to the Purkinje fiber. So that was delay. So delay of AV conduction. So that was helpful for complete relaxations of the ventricle and complete contractions of the ventricle. Complete. So that completeness of contraction is helpful for to increase the correct force of contraction or that is the pressure. In the left ventricle, the pressure is about 120 mmHg and in the right ventricle, so that pressure is 25 mmHg. If the pressure is that much generated due to increased force of contraction, so then only the systemic circulation was completed. So then only the demand of the heart, the demand of the organs can be fulfilled. If that pressure was decreases, then also the complete empty of the ventricle do not occur. So due to that, the body was having, the heart was having the deficiency of the oxygen. And here digoxin, it can enhance the complete empty of the ventricle by decreasing the entry of the next impulses toward the cardiac muscle. The first impulses, it can complete its work due to more accumulations of calcium. Then after that only the second action potential can be reaches. So that gap or decrease the AV conduction and increase the refractive period. So that was helpful for complete filling of the ventricles and complete empty of the ventricle. So that was helpful for to meet the to fulfill the cardiac output or demand of the heart or demand of the organ. So regarding on the heart rate, so regular doses or therapeutic doses, digoxin, it can cause the bradycardia or it can decrease the heart rate, because one side it can enhance the refractive period. That is the generations of the next beat or next action period that was delayed due to increased refractive period. And second, it can decreases the AV conduction. And third one is in the therapeutic dose, the digoxin, it can shows the vagomimetic effect because it can stimulate the vagus nerve. So vagus nerve is also innervated in the heart or cardiac muscle. So due to stimulations of the vagus nerve, the potassium ion can be accumulated in the cardiac muscle. So due to that, the heart rate is decreases. So that condition was known as the bradycardia. So that is regarding digoxin. When you are using a therapeutic doses, the bradycardia is occur due to vagomimetic action. But in the higher doses or in the toxic doses, the digoxin or digitalis, so they are causes the tachycardia by stimulations of the sympathetic activity or the stimulations of the adrenal activity. So due to stimulations of sympathetic activity, the calciums can be more accumulated or the generations of the action potential from the SI node that was increases. So due to that, the person was suffering from the tachycardia. Still high doses, it can participate in the cause of the cardiac arrhythmia. But therapeutic dose of digoxin, it can treat the cardiac arrhythmia. But toxic dose of digitalis or digoxin itself, it can cause the tachycardia. So that condition was known as the digitalis toxicity. So that was occurs due to higher doses or toxic dose administrations of the digoxins. So regarding the effect on blood vessels in the normal patients, so when you administer the digoxin, it can causes the vasoconstrictions. But when you administered in the CHF patient, so where it can shows the vasodilatations effect by enhancing the guanylyl synthesis activity or by causing the relaxations of the cardiac muscles. But in the kidney, in CHF, it can cause the diuresis. So that diuresis is helpful for to decrease the preload afterload on the heart by decreasing the or by enhancing the excretions of the body fluid from the body through a urine. So that phenomena of the digoxin is also beneficial for treatment of the congestive heart failure by decreasing the preload as well as the afterload. But same digoxin, when you are administered to the normal persons and edema, where it do not show any action or it do not participate to cause in the to increase the urine output. So regarding the CNS, in low dose, it do not have any effect on the CNS, but in higher doses, it can stimulate the CTZ. So due to stimulation CTZ in the medulla oblongata, so digoxin, it can causes the nausea and vomiting. This is CTZ is nothing but chemoreceptor trigger zone. So that involved in the cause of the MSCs, nausea and vomiting. So here the higher dose of digoxin, it can stimulate CTZ. So due to that, the person was suffering from the nausea and vomiting. So this clue was one of the ideal factor or clue for regarding the management of the congestive heart failure or to avoid the toxicity of the digoxin or overdose of digoxins. If you administer normal dose, if there is no effect means, so there is no disease toxicity can be occurs. If the persons was suffering from the MSCs or feeling of MSCs or vomiting, nausea, so that indicates somewhere the dose of digoxin was increases. So that there is a chance of the to cause of the digital toxicity. So on that time you can stop or to decrease the digoxin dose. So that was one of the best clue regarding digoxin. It is helpful for the management of the congestive heart failure. So this digitalis in still higher doses, it can cause the hyperapnea. So that is the accumulations of more fluid in the lungs. So due to that, the congestion is occurs in the lungs. So due to congestion, the that is the respiration rate was increased. So that condition was known as the hyperapnea. So that was occurs due to accumulations of the certain fluid in the lungs. So still another effect of the digoxin in the higher doses was it can stimulate the central sympathetic activity. So due to that, it is also participated to cause of the convulsions or to cause of the tachycardia or arrhythmia by stimulating the sympathetic activity by centrally. Then also it can causes the disorientations and visual disturbance. Disorientation means we cannot recognize the persons or our fronters, okay, our family members or doctor, nurses, due to overdose of digoxin. So that condition was known as the disorientations or disorganization. So our patients are unable to talk. Always he is involved in the shoutings. Okay, his irritable behaviors are present. He cannot be recognized the environment or cannot be recognized the doctors or family members or nurses. So that condition was the disorganization. It is also due to occur due to digoxin toxicity or toxicity, and as well as it can cause the visual disturbance. So now we learn regarding the pharmacokinetics. So digoxins, so they are mainly administered by oral route as well as the parenteral route, but they do not administered by the IM. But oral route in the form of tablet, the bioavailability is 80%. So regarding the elixir, the bioavailability is 75 to 80%, and the liquid filled capsule, the bioavailability is 75 to 80% of the administered drug that was reaches to the systemic circulations. But regarding the intramuscular injection, the bioavailability is 80%, the absorption rate is 80%. Still, it cannot be administered by IM route because so when you administer through intramuscular route, so what the digoxin, it can highly bind with the tissue proteins. So to bind it with tissue protein, the effect of digoxin was decreases, or where the digoxin is required in the cardiac muscle, where the digoxin concentration was decreases by binding to the tissue protein. So due to this reason only, the digoxin is do not administered by the IM, but it was administered by intravenous or IV route. So regarding the time of onset section, so when you are administered by oral route in the form of tablet, the time of onset of action is within 0.5 to 2 hours. Then the duration is it can remains for up to 8 hours. But IV within 5 to 30 minutes it can shows the action. So that's why during the emergency or congestive heart failure in the first dose, there is a loading dose. So that should be administered by only IV because when the time is too short to save the patient. So such emergency condition you should be administered or you can advise the nurse that that drug was administered through IV. Then after the maintenance dose, so they are administered by oral route. But the patient if the loss of conscious, then also we also follow the IV route. So regarding distribution, it can be well distributed and about 25% it can bound to the plasma proteins. It is also considered during the selections of the dose because if you administer 100 mg means only the 75 mg of the drug was available to shows the action on the heart. Remaining 25% they are not available because they are bind with the plasma protein. So this factor was also considered regarding the loading dose or by treatment of the congestive heart failure. It can crosses the placenta. So that's why it was secreted in the milk or during the lactations. So regarding the metabolism, so digitalis only 10% or digoxin only 10% it can metabolize in the liver by hepatic metabolism. Remaining, so that was metabolized via stepwise cleavage of sugar moiety because digitalis is the cardiac glycosides and glycoside nothing but they can contain the glucose ring. So due to that they are known as the glycosides. So that responsible for the metabolism of the digoxin, that is the stepwise cleavage of sugar moiety and as well as the reductions in the lactose. So these two mechanism is maximum for the metabolism of the digoxin, only 10%, less than 10%. So that was metabolized in the liver by hepatic metabolism. So regarding the elimination, the T half is 40 hours. Once you administered, the actions was remain about more than 40 hours because its effect or its T half is a 40 hours. That is regarding the digoxins. Then it was excreted through a urines. So regarding adverse drug reactions, it can causes the nausea, vomiting, gastric irritation because it can stimulate the CTZ, then headache because it can enhance the sympathetic activity in the CNS. Due to that, excitation was more due to increase the noradrenaline level in the CNS. So due to that, the person was suffering headache, mental confusion, psychosis, even the fatigue is occurs, disorientations, usual disturbance, and as well as skin rashes. So these are the common area. But the main area regarding the cardiac is it can participate to cause on the supra or ventricular arrhythmia, atrial ventricular block, and as well as the ventricular premature beat. So that premature beat is also responsible to decrease the cardiac output or to participate in the cause of the atrial flutter, atrial fibrillations or arrhythmia in the toxic dose only. But in the therapeutic dose, it can treat the atrial ventricular, that is a arrhythmia. But in the toxic dose, it can participate itself to cause of the different types of the arrhythmia. So that arrhythmia, during the cause of arrhythmia, so that was corrected by withdrawing the drug. If the person was suffering from the premature beat or ventricular arrhythmia, so that was monitored on the ECG or various machines, cardiograms. So on that time, you can stop the administration of digoxin. Instead of digoxin, you can use the other drugs, okay, other than the chorionic like dopamine, dobutamine. So many drugs are there from the classification. You can administer that drug to save the patient's life. And as well as you can give the potassium supplement because cardiac arrhythmias occurs due to administration of digoxin is accumulations of calcium. So that was reversed by administrations of the cardiac muscle relaxant like a potassium. So that's why if you administer digoxin, if the person was suffering from the cardiac arrhythmia or ventricular arrhythmia, so on that time you can use the potassium supplement. And also you can administer the phenytoin, sodium and lidocaine because so these are inactivate the L type of calcium channels. So those are present in the cardiac muscle or those are present in the CNS. In the CNS, L type of calcium channel, if its activation is excess, it can causes the convulsions. But in the heart, if that activity was increases, it was participate in the cardiac arrhythmia. And here the phenytoin, sodium and lidocaine, they inactivate the L type of calcium channel. So due to that, the digitalist toxicity was treated or reversed by administrations of the phenytoin, sodium as well as the lidocaine. Or you can administer the digoxin antibodies, so they are available. So they are helpful for the treatment of the digitalist toxicity. So regarding the therapeutic uses, so digoxin, so they are mainly used for the treatment of the congestive heart failure as well as the to decrease the pulmonary edema or congestion, and as well as so they are helpful for the treatment of the atrial flutter and atrial fibrillation only in the therapeutic dose. If the dose was increases or in the blood that was accumulated more because it was accumulated more due to decrease the protein level in the body as well as because 25% it can bind with the plasma protein. If the person was anemic, if the person was suffering from deficiency of protein means the protein is not available in the blood, so that time also the distillate toxicity can be occurs due to lack of binding site. So that is also considered during the administration of digoxin in the case of the congestive heart failure. If the therapeutic doses, so on that time it can participate in the ADR, but in the not participate, but in the therapeutic dose it can treat the atrial flutter and as well as the atrial fibrillations. So regarding thank you. So if you have any doubt